This is Rating Descendant,
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
My name is Abigail Ward.
And I'm Michelle St. Clair.
And tonight we watch Tubelight, a story of two brothers set during the Sino-Indian War, 1962. The younger one who's at war at the borders, and the elder who's at war with his own world. Let's watch. Michelle, where have you been?
Oh, well.
Where the fuck have you been?
You see, if you listen back to our last few episodes, we have betrayed you. We recorded a bunch in advance because I have actually been in Sydney for work for 3 weeks.
Oh my God, she abandoned us.
I know.
To the northern reaches.
For the north. Not even the north of Australia, just the north
the
of
middle
here.
reaches.
The Midlands.
The Midlands. Us lowlanders.
The Midlands. Yeah, I was in Sydney for 3 weeks working on a series. I think I can say called Shippers. I don't know. Same. Beep. One of the producers from No Ordinary Love is now got their own show that they're show running, which is cool.
That's so good. How was the trip?
I'm glad I moved.
Yeah, how hot was it, more importantly?
I'm so fucking mad because I was so hot and so sweaty in Sydney the whole time, and apparently in Melbourne the whole time it was nice and cool, and then I came back and then now Melbourne's in a heat wave, and I'm dying.
You're bringing the heat around with you.
I'm dying.
She's too hot to touch.
I'm ill-equipped to handle the heat.
It is horrible. The heat makes me feral. Like, I'm actually a more cranky, horrible person in summer.
Yeah, I mean, I am also a more cranky and awful person in summer, but no one is that more true for than you.
Yes.
You become snappy and vicious.
Correct. I'm aware. I want to claim that I'm working on it, but you know, I did. I moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know what's getting to me? Don't get upset about this, okay?
I'm not going to pre-promise that because I don't know what you're going to say.
I don't want to, necessarily.
Okay.
But Claude loves the idea of living in Sydney.
Don't.
At some point.
Don't do this.
And he's like, you know, maybe sometime in the next couple of years, we could go up to Sydney just for a year. And I'm like,
You know why he loves that? Because Sydney is nice to visit and he's not from there.
He's never lived there.
It is awful to live in.
It is.
It's not getting
The traffic, the heat, everything is so compact. I know the harbour's beautiful. It is. It is one of the most beautiful
Sydney
harbours.
is not on the harbour.
Exactly. Most of Sydney is tucked away from the harbour on very flat plains that lead all the way to fucking Penrith.
Yeah.
Don't live there.
Our listenership is queer. Maybe you were at or at the very least saw some of World Pride recently in Sydney.
I bet most of you did.
Sydney's not like that.
Sydney isn't always like that.
It's not like that.
Did you notice at all that it was monopolised by white, cis gay men?
Yeah.
That's just Sydney for you. You know, when we moved to Melbourne, it was so exciting because I was like, you know what? There is like barely any space for like queer women in Sydney.
Yeah.
And there was so much more like acceptance and androgyny in Melbourne that was like so appealing when you just come from Oxford Street, Sydney.
When I was in Sydney, I met up with a bunch of like friends of friends that were also a bunch of queer women, and you know, we were talking about it and they were like, oh, you know, I've always found Sydney pretty queer friendly. I was like, I don't know, in Northcote there's women holding hands everywhere, and they were like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, legit.
Yeah.
Like it
queer friendly
it's different.
Is like, oh yeah, we tolerate the gay guy at work in our Sydney corporate office, but in Melbourne it's actually like queer friendly.
Yeah, but no, it was doing the work was good. I was staying out in the fucking northwest because that's where the studio was, and it was a fucking trek to get everywhere. I got to stay with some good friends though for part of it, where I optionally watched Batman and Robin, a movie that is on this list much later,
Michelle.
proving once again that I am a mad woman, an absolute maniac when it comes to these fucking movies.
You don't have to do all this pre-research, all right? Just save it for the episode.
We were just like, what's going to be fun to watch? And then we were like, Batman and Robin? Sure. And I was like, fuck, this is on the list. God damn it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we missed you in Melbourne. It was weird. Having a break from recording for 3 weeks was like kind of nice, but it was also like my schedule feels bizarre because I don't have to do this thing I tend to every single week with Michelle.
I got to not watch a bad movie for 3 weeks.
That's
and
crazy.
I felt my IQ raised. However, I then had to watch within like 3 days 4 movies for the podcast, and that brought it way back down.
Yeah, and look, we might be bulking again the movies because I'm about to go on my honeymoon and we're trying to get a lot out of the way before that. So the break will also be very, very exciting when I'm on my honeymoon. You'll still have to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to get
with Gated, but I'll be in Tassie.
But ooh, that's a surprise. We haven't announced that yet. That'll be in 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to Tassie, guys. Planning my honeymoon. I'm going to be drinking a lot of white wine and looking at lots of lovely bays and beaches in Tasmania.
We'll put you in the hospital because you've got that Tasmania.
Oh my God. She's a crazy woman.
She's insane.
Oh my God.
I prescribe her with insanity. Prescribe? That's
prescribe her with insanity.
Wait, they're going to give you insanity?
I really enjoyed planning the honeymoon because I didn't want Claude to plan it. Because I didn't think he would plan it as well as I would plan it.
That's okay. But okay. So for the listeners, Abby's not a planner, both in practice and also self-describingly doesn't like planning.
But when it comes to trips, vacations, I know exactly what I want to see.
That's fair because it just blew me away that you were like, I loved planning this, and then specifically said it was because you thought your husband would do a bad job.
Well, you know how I'm bad at planning? Claude is worse.
That feels so hard to believe, and yet I believe you.
Yeah, it is worse. You know how you keep saying that you think I have ADHD?
Well, Claude, that's an easy one, though.
Well, yeah, Claude has literally said that his friend Jack is always, who does have ADHD, keeps telling him, I think you have ADHD.
Yeah, but that one's even more obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, he's sleepy? Nah, he's unfocused all day and exhausted.
He gets hyper-focused as well when he goes into periods of I can only concentrate on this one letter and I'm not actually focusing on any other part of my life where I should be focusing on that part of my life.
What really tipped me off was the other day when we were talking about ADHD things and even autistic things, and I saw him frown a little. It was like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of, and I'm like, right, so you too.
Anyway, I really enjoyed planning this honeymoon. I'm very excited to go on it. And I'll miss you all so much. I mean, we've still got some time before I go on my honeymoon, but I'm saying my sayonaras in advance. Every week I'm saying another goodbye.
Yeah?
Yes.
So this week it's sayonara.
Yep. That's right.
What's it going to be next week?
Adieu.
I don't know if you... Well, I guess
I can.
Yeah. Fuck, she got me.
Yes.
All right.
And you know what? I'll never be coming back. I'm going to go on my honeymoon. You're never seeing me again.
No.
You'll never see me again.
No. Friend, I need you.
I'm going to get on that Spirit of Tasmania. We're flying. And you'll never see me again. We're going to take off from the harbour. Waving.
What will I do?
And then...
What will I do? Who will berate me? How will I talk to people?
I know.
How will I get anything done?
No, I'm gone.
How will you ever have anything in a calendar? Who's going to remind you of everything you have planned?
Who's going to tell me I have ADHD every week? Who's going to do it?
Hopefully a doctor. That's
you floored me.
It's done.
You got me.
We have to just talk about the movie now. There's no more.
Speaking of being flawed, this week we watched Tubelight.
And with it came this Hindi war drama.
The third con. Let's do it again. I want to do it again.
Okay.
The third con. Okay, let's do it again.
Okay.
The third con. Okay, let's do it again.
What? You've done it 3 times.
Third con. Okay, let's do it again.
No, that's crazy. I'm not doing it a third time.
We got the third one.
I'm doing it a 4th time.
It feels like we're unlocking like the big bosses, you know? It's like it's like...
Is that what it feels like?
Kinda. You know, like how my only reference to video games is Croc, Legend of Gubbos, where...
You've played so many games and watched me play others, but your only reference you ever do is to Croc.
No, it's just Croc. And then like when you get to the end of the level, you get the big boss, and then obviously, I mean, this is a lot of video games, but then when you get to the end of the last level, all the bosses come together, and this film felt like the equivalent of all the Croc buses walking into the same room.
Yeah, well, I mean, Amir Khan wasn't in it.
I know, but
it just
means that we have unlocked like every single Khan, and we understand their acting style and how they look and how they come off. And this film made me really appreciate King Khan.
Oh,
because
same.
He's so charismatic in this. I was like, he's so much better than Salman Khan.
I wrote down in 2 different points, like, oh fuck, he looks good in this.
He looked hot, he looked so much better than he did in Ra 1.
Yeah, he looked like fine in Ra 1, but in this, I literally, when it was done, it was like almost 1 a.m. and I got I grabbed Brooke, who was next to me in bed, and I was like, I need you to see how hot this guy looks in this bit. And I went to it, and she was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Well, when he was in Ra 1, he just kind of looked like a
dad.
Like a dad.
He was being a dad.
And he looked like a very, like, small, withdrawn dad, sometimes like a bit shy, you know?
Yeah.
A bit quirky, but a bit shy. In this, he was, like, genuinely this charismatic magician.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it. I get why he is the most successful fucking Indian actor in the world.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
And also, when we were doing Thugs of Hindostan, and I was, like, understanding the way that Amir Khan is an actor rather than just a superstar.
Yeah.
And I said, I reckon that Salman Khan is the worst of them. And yes.
Yes. Did you look him up?
No, I didn't. I tried not to. No. I only looked up. I was like, wait, I saw it said Salman Khan in the opening credits, and I was like, is it him?
Khan?
And it is.
Yeah. Because he is...
But I looked him up
he's
last time.
the worst actor, in my opinion, out of the three of them. He's also genuinely...
And in this movie.
Also, genuinely, he's a terrible person.
It seems like it. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Last time with Amir Khan, I was like, Amir Khan does a lot for charity.
Amir Khan is my favorite.
Yeah, same.
He is like my number one because I think he's genuinely the best actor, really comedically
He
talented.
seems like he's trying to be a good actor too.
And he's also like a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
And then like you've got like King Khan, obviously, who seems more like the kind of like fatherly figure of the...
He seems like he's a Tom Cruise, like if you took the Scientology away but kept the absolute mania, like that's Shah Rukh Khan.
But Salman Khan is like the evil portion of this trio.
Kind of seems like it.
I do not like him.
There seemed to be like a lot of support for the increasingly fascistic BJP government, for one.
I really also don't like his acting style. Not only is he a bad person, he's not a good actor.
Yeah, no, it really a lot of this movie rubbed me the wrong way, and in particular his portrayal of this character.
Yeah, okay, so I feel like when we've encountered any Indian-made films in the past, whether it be Bollywood or Collywood or Tollywood, right?
Yeah. Both in the list and out of it.
We have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's meant to be bad, they've been so fun. And, like, we look forward to them. Then this came along and it ruined that streak because... It wasn't 3 hours, which frankly, I actually kind of love that all of the films we've encountered so far have been 3 hours.
I finished this at 12:40, so I'm glad it wasn't 3 hours.
But it was the first time that I've experienced genuinely what it is, like what a bad, slow Indian film is.
Wow. I mean, I didn't like this movie either. I think there were parts of it that I found endearing, at least, but a lot of this was really quite
it was
frustrating.
Just slow. I just feel like when we had Thugs of Hindostan, it was balls to the walls the entire time. Pacing was great. Even the slower moments, they still had like this ridiculous sentimental emotion layered over it. This one was genuinely like, there were bits that made me laugh, but it was just too slow and too little.
But it's fascinating to me that we've done 3 Bollywood movies on this list. Ra 1, Thugs of Hindostan, and now Tubelight. And each of them star one of the 3 Khans, and each of them are these big, sprawling, personal-driven movies that are a bit of a mess in really distinct ways.
Yes.
And it really shows Salman Khan.
Yeah, 100%. But like... Look, I'll give you some of the key details for this so that we can go into this a bit more in depth.
Yeah.
This film was directed by Kabir Khan.
Okay.
Another Khan.
Yeah.
Very popular surname. Kabir Khan is just known as a very like famous Indian director.
Sure.
As for other credits, there's clearly like there actually isn't anything that you and I would recognize because we just are not educated enough in Indian cinema to really recognize anything. But from what I have read, he's very well respected.
That's cool.
It was written by Kabir Khan and by Parviz Sheikh. It was also produced by Salman Khan.
That's very unsurprising.
Okay, this really confuses me.
Yeah.
It claims it's an adaptation of the 2015 American film Little Boy.
What? What?
Have you heard of Little Boy?
No, I haven't heard of Little Boy.
Okay, so this is why it
They
confuses
really just
me.
called a movie Little Boy?
It's an American film, about like a boy with dwarfism, and like the character that Salman is playing is essentially meant to be the child character for like that has dwarfism in Little Boy.
What?
But here's another strange layer to this.
I mean, look, okay, I just want the listeners to 100% be aware. Salman Khan does not have dwarfism and is not portraying a character with dwarfism.
He's also not portraying a child, like...
Yeah.
But so Little Boy is a 2015 World War II war drama film directed by Alejandro Gomez Monteverde.
This is fucking crazy.
It's about this guy called Pepper, who is a dwarf.
Okay.
And it's about him growing up with dwarfism, right? And it's about his relationship with his father and his older brother.
That's not what this movie was like at all.
So that's confusing, right?
Yeah.
Then on top of it, that film came out in 2015.
Yeah.
This film came out in 2017. But the production for it started in 2013.
What?
How was it based on a film that came out 2 years after production began?
Is this one of those things where there's some vague similarity and so they just have to say that it is?
I honestly will have to wonder if
has
that's
to
what
be,
it is.
right? Like the Are We Done Yet thing, or, you know.
I honestly just don't understand.
Yeah.
Because, and that's also something I'll go into later, is the production took a long time, but it actually wasn't full of production issues. It just they started filming in 2013, which actually means production started earlier than that.
Well, this movie is both huge and tiny.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Oh, wait, I want we to answer one question about the key details, because is his brother in the movie portrayed by his real brother? Because I saw in the opening. Okay.
Sohail Khan, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
It has Salman Khan as Lakshman or Lakshman.
Lakshman.
It's got Sohail Khan as Bharat, and Sohail is his younger brother in real life.
Right. Okay.
And the reason he cast him is that he figured that the bond would be easy to replicate.
Sure.
Although I'm not so sure on that, because Sohail does not. They don't look like brothers to me.
They
look totally different.
They do look very different from each other.
Because I think Sohail has like these amazing features of like these incredible elfin
like,
eyes.
and
like beautiful little pouty lips, and
his like pointy nose and cheekbones.
Yeah, and then he's got like a little cleft chin as well. Like it's just he looks so different.
He's got like pouty lips. He was great as the soldier, just constantly like peering around.
He literally looks like he's always posing, but it's just because he has a really like model-esque face. You know? And he's buff. He's a big buff dude.
They're both jacked. They're both so like, he at least is a soldier, but even before that, and then also Lakshman are so jacked.
Yeah.
And it's so not part of the movie that it's so funny.
All we see like Lakshman doing is riding his bike. How does he maintain that physique?
And it's all upper body too, like slightly too big pecs and arms.
Yeah. It also starred Puri as the his name was Bun, but he was like the older white-haired man in the village.
Yeah.
Apparently he's a really like iconic big actor in India. I think like they called him Sir Puri. And when he died, he was honored at the Oscars.
Oh wow.
And then of course we had Shah Rukh Khan come in as the magician.
Yeah.
We also,
which means, you know, all-star now.
All-star.
This is in round one. I also saw, maybe you've got this, but Muhammad Zishan Ayab, who played like Rayan or Ravayan.
He was the really familiar villager, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was he in?
He was in Thugs of Hindostan.
That's where I've seen him.
Yeah. He's also like a similar sort of like B character in that. Yeah.
Because I was looking at him the whole time thinking, what was he in? Was he in Slumdog? Like, why can I recognize him?
He's also a rating descending all-star.
And as I said, a few things about Salman Khan, which you may already know, but he truly is an asshole. This fucked me up the most. And I'd written a whole thing about it, and then I deleted it because I thought it would be too long to go into. But it is fucked up.
Yeah.
He was drink driving in 2001 or 2.
That's not a good start to a story.
No, it's not. And he ran his car into a shop front in Mumbai and killed a homeless man sleeping out the front and injured 4 other homeless people that were also out the front of it.
Oh my God.
So he was initially up for charges of manslaughter, and then they were dropped. And then in 2015, he was sent back to trial because they were like, something's fucked up about that. Why was he not convicted?
Yeah.
Goes back to trial for it in 2015. He is sentenced to like 5 years in prison for manslaughter. Then the next day, like 2 days later, he's bailed out on parole. 2 days later, the charges are dropped and a key witness in the trial was murdered and disappeared.
This is some Kevin Spacey bullshit.
And everyone knows, apparently it's public knowledge, that Salman Khan has connections to the underworld in Mumbai, and they believe that he basically tapped a friend on the shoulder being like, just make it go away.
Amir would never.
And you know what? Shah Rukh wouldn't either.
Yeah, SRK, he's too busy with his family.
Yes,
and
being a good dad.
It's crazy how he seems to straddle the line between really genuine family man and clear like megalomaniac. But I'm like, with that much charisma and hots, you would be.
I just can't get over that. Like, he made a manslaughter conviction go away. He killed a man.
Yeah.
Because he was drink driving. That's
like,
fucked up.
I don't have any response to that.
Fair enough. Here's another thing about him. It's a bummer as well. He dated Aishwarya Rai, that beautiful. She was Miss Universe
Oh,
1995.
yeah, okay.
She was
yeah.
the lead from Bride and Prejudice, which I think I've talked about many times in the past about how much I fucking loved it. Because she was the lead in it with the guy from Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like considered a beautiful woman, obviously. She and him dated around like 2000, 2001. And then she broke it off with him and he didn't take her very well. And he kept calling her and harassing her and her family. And he left a derogatory, like long, angry voicemail one time that was linked to the press of him like threatening her and making horrible remarks about people in her life. And then later on, they claimed that the tape was fake. But for a guy that managed to make a manslaughter conviction just go away with the tap of a shoulder, I'm not buying the fact that it's fake. She has publicly said he has harassed me.
India's Kevin Spacey and Johnny Depp are the same guy, and it's Salman Khan.
And just to top things off as well, he loves hunting endangered animals.
What?
He also went to prison. He was sentenced to like a year in prison for hunting this thing called, like, I think it's the black buck.
Now he's a cartoon villain. Like, this is silly.
And like he's gone to like trial multiple times for different animals he keeps hunting because he just will not stop. Apparently right now in 2023 he's like out on bail for hunting another endangered animal. He is like, his whole career has been marred by just controversy after controversy because he's not a good guy.
No.
He is the evil Khan.
He's the evil Khan. We need Amir and SRK, Amir and Shahrukh to team together.
And that's why it makes this whole fucking film so much funnier, because the whole film is about him playing this sweet, and it's the Wikipedia kept describing him, and it made me uncomfortable, but I can't really think of another way to describe it. Mentally challenged.
Okay, yeah, we got to get into this because I'm so fucking angry about it.
Mentally challenged child.
Yeah, something, by the way, a big fucking, not pet peeve, thing that makes me angry is in movies like this where the character is clearly just disabled and no one talks about it. Like, they kind of hint at it, but no one ever uses those words because I guess that would make them have to feel bad.
I don't think it's an issue that they don't say anything about it, because it's not like they're trying to make a commentary on like him trying to get over it.
Well, it is
like,
because these are the kind of people who then go like, there were never autistic people in my day, and like too many people are said that they're this thing or whatever, and they like don't actually support anyone with disability or whatever. And so, but then they make movies of like, this nebulously, I don't know, he's very specific in his own way. He just doesn't have it all there.
I don't fully agree. I don't think like you need to like necessarily have characters diagnose exactly what someone has. Because especially in the 60s, they didn't have a lot of names for things like this, right? They actually just didn't.
Sure, but it's the acknowledgement of disability. It doesn't have to be a specific one.
But isn't acknowledgement of disability also just the representation of disability, of having it on screen?
Yeah, but that's not what this is my point, right? Like, having Salman Khan play this guy is not representation of disability.
Yeah.
You know, that's like saying Dustin Hoffman playing Rain Man is representation of disability, which it is not.
Just to cap off.
Yeah.
I think the portrayal of this character is piss weak.
Yeah.
But it's a terrible portrayal of someone with a disability, because it doesn't make it clear like at all what the disability is. They just give him this childlikeness. There's nothing that we in a modern society can identify as like. There's nothing that we can associate it with, which makes it a difficult portrayal.
They seem to, at times, rather than going like, he's autistic or he's this thing, kind of just imply like, really the fundamental problem is that he's an idiot, which is what feels the most mean about it.
Yeah, yeah. This whole film, just to get into like the horrible whimsy and good vibes that they're trying to shove down your throat when you watch it, of being like, it's like everything's great, be kind to each other, don't bully people, everyone is different and unique. It's horrible. Like, it is. So it's like a long sermon that you don't want to be at. It's like being at Christmas Eve mass when you actually just want to be home watching movies.
Yeah, it is.
So here's the overview. Lakshman is a mentally challenged man.
That's such a great ending to that discussion.
That's how they described him in every synopsis.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yep. Who is protected from bullies by his younger brother, Barrett. They grow up in a small rural town and dote on one another. Following the Chinese invasion of India in 1962, Bharat is recruited to join the army. Missing his brother, Lakshman meets a mother and son who have moved into a house nearby. He finds out that despite them seeming Chinese, They are Assamese? Assamese?
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce
Assam
it.
is like the northeast province that they're from.
Assamese. And he strikes up a friendship with the son Gua. Gua.
Guo, I think.
Gua. It's a long joke in the film.
Yeah, because he keeps saying goo.
Yeah, goo. And he's like, that's Indian for poo. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Bharat's regiment is quickly ambushed. He is shot, and having no hope of survival, he exchanges his shoes with another soldier who has torn his. The soldier is killed, however, and due to the shoe tag, Bharat is declared dead. Lakshman is grief-stricken, but later learns that Bharat is still alive but has lost his memory. Lakshman is reunited with his brother, who is able to recognize Lakshman.
That was
The
an
end.
incredibly efficient compression of that movie.
Thank you.
Holy shit.
Thank you.
I'm just blown away by how incredibly you fucking nailed that overview.
What I do with overviews is that I copy it from like Wikipedia basically, and then I rewrite it as synthesized as possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, to lead off right the bat with some of the overall things, easily the like best way to describe the like saccharin tones of this movie
Saccharin is the right word for it.
is the brother.
It's cloying. You're like,
It is cloying. is definitely the brother, and the specific way that movie goes like, oh my god, like the Chinese come over the mountains in a scene that is like the scene in Ants,
yeah.
where they see the bugs come
It's
over.
a really beautifully shot scene.
It is
like
kinda.
the oh my god, this was like one long tourism ad for India. I've never wanted to go to India as much as I now want to go to India because every location in this film was stunning. It was like this beautiful rural village. They were near Kashmir in the northern parts of
Were they near Kashmir?
India. Yeah, apparently it was filmed around Kashmir.
Oh, I don't think it was set around Kashmir.
No, but it was filmed around Kashmir.
Right, okay, yeah.
And and then like when he goes off to war, he's in these like beautiful like deserts and big like brown hills. And when the Chinese come over the hill, I genuinely thought like, wow, that's such a beautiful shot.
Yeah,
It's a shame that it's in this film.
It kind of felt like if you never cut back again, you get that he's probably
done.
died.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But that, and then, leading to him throwing a grenade through the bunker, like it keeps trying to show you the moment he died and then showing that he's actually okay.
Yeah.
And then, he's been taken captive, and then Lakshman with his fucking wavy hand magic has ended the war. And so we're like, oh my God, he's gonna be alive. And then it shows you actually in that part of the mountains communication's hard, and they were still fighting, and he got shot just before he escaped.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then oh my God, they're all crying, they're so sad. Oh my God. And there's like 5 minutes of the movie left, and like, oh, and then they're like, actually he didn't die,
He's alive. And you
like,
as the
what the
viewer are
just-
like, yeah.
why bother?
Yeah. The back and forth of where Bharat is at, if he's been ambushed, if he's okay, has he been shot? I found that was just so confusing. Every time I went back to him, I was like, so what's happening with him? Like, where is he now? I don't
It
understand.
kept making me go, is this happening now?
Yeah, because timeline's fucked.
It is a little
so
fucked.
You have no idea really when anything is happening.
The one advantage of doing it that way meant that it led to, in my opinion, not just the funniest part of this movie, but it meant that at almost 1 a.m., my girlfriend had to tell me to shut up because I was laughing so fucking hard. It's the very end of this movie where he sees his brother again.
And his brother has a big white bandage around his head.
Big bandage in his head,
Glazed
big bandage in his
eyes.
glazed eyes. He's like looking off into the distance,
Yeah.
It's like they can't tell, like, does he have no memory? Is he unable to
No,
think
the film
anymore?
would deem it mentally challenged.
Oh, sorry, yeah, he's mentally challenged now. And so, like, Lakshman comes out in front of him and is like, and then he's trying to, like, prompt him. So he starts doing this dance they did earlier about their being really close as brothers.
It's the classic knee knocking
It's the
dance
knee-knocking
where you're
dance.
swapping the knees over.
And so then it starts cutting between him in a wide doing this dance while crying.
and then everyone else that's watching him is
And then
crying.
it keeps cutting back and he's doing the goofiest dance.
And then his brothers
like,
start smiling and like crying as well.
every time it cut back to him like sobbing, he went from doing like the hands on one and each knee crossing each other to the hand on one knee going over and over.
The sentimental
So
parts
funny.
were the best bits of this film. Like also when he thinks that Bharat is dead and he's holding this like picture frame of him all the time, like a photo of Bharat. And there's this bit where he's in the forest and he's looking around and he sees Bharat behind a tree and then behind another tree. And then he's like, oh, and then he's gone. But then he stands out and he looks across the water, like he looks down at this big ravine that his brother would throw himself into because his brother was brave and had no fears. And he's holding his brother's ashes,
That's right.
And he throws them out, and his brother Bharat, another vision, charges into the ashes and becomes ashes in the sky, all while this like sad wallowing music is playing over it.
Which, and also, he wasn't dead, so it wasn't even his ashes.
It wasn't. Whose ashes were they?
Were they the ashes of the other guy?
Yeah, they probably were. The guy that got the shoe tag.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I love how they tried to set up the symbolism of the boots. Like in the beginning, when it's all like this fun montage, and a scene it's genuinely sad. Like they go into the local like general store in the village, and his brother sees a nice pair of brown boots and he wants to buy them, and then he pulls out his pockets, they're empty. Also, if you know you have no money, don't embarrass yourself.
I love the genuine pulling the pockets
and
inside out.
Oh, and the storekeeper is like,
he's like a cartoon from the 30s.
Yeah. And Bharat is so embarrassed. He looks genuinely gutted. And he walks out of the shop embarrassed, and Lakshman's holding these 2 ice creams, and he sees his brother walk out, and it just cuts to the rest of the montage. And I was like, that was such a sad scene. What the fuck?
And he looks up at the general store guy and he goes, "I'm sorry, mister. I don't got no money, but I'm just a little stinker."
And then, because he swapped his boots, that guy died, and they thought he was dead. And then in the end, Lakshman brings him new boots.
Yeah.
God, that was shit. That was just shit. Also, the tone of this film is so fucking off. Let's begin with the poster. The poster, and this is written, this says it's a war drama.
Yeah.
The poster is Salman Khan as Lakshman. He's got the beanie that he's wearing in the last scene.
Just at the end.
And it's just in the last scene. He is in a war zone looking for his brother. And it's a really sad, grim poster. It almost
a different
looks like
kind of movie.
It looks like fucking Javier Bardem, like staring out at this like wasteland. In like, you remember Beautiful, that horrible Alejandro?
Yeah.
What's his name? Alejandro
Gonzalez Inarritu.
Yes, that film Beautiful.
Yeah.
Horrible. It reminds me of that poster. And Beautiful is the saddest film I've ever seen. I'll never watch it again. It was so cripplingly sad. It looks like that. And then the whole film is like, la 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 la, I'm riding a bike through this beautiful town with my best friend. It's so twee and endearing and charming as a film. And then there's that one poster that makes you think you're going to walk into like fucking Argo.
The actual movie makes you feel like if it was in English, he would kind of just talk like this. I don't know about it.
The tone's crazy. And then you've got Bharat fighting a war, and like it's not very well done. The explosions are like, you never really feel like there's that much of a threat.
It's where you can feel the constraints of the Indian budget.
Exactly. But then, it cuts back to this guy living this beautiful, idyllic life in this rural town. And it's just so outlandishly stunning where they live in this beautiful,
shockingly beautiful,
there's icy peaks in the horizon.
Distractingly beautiful.
Exactly. I've never wanted to go to India so much as after watching this film. So it's just the comparison, like the tone differences between Bharat and Lakshman are genuinely just so jarring. Yeah. And then the film is portrayed as way darker than it actually was.
Yeah, it's so strange. I will say on the like saccharin feeling, one of the bits that wasn't saccharin for me, I thought the way the major, like at the beginning, zero fucking tolerance for Lakshman. And then like by the midpoint, he kind of like starts being empathetic to how much Lakshman wants his brother. I actually thought that was, for how this movie is, kind of well done.
I actually thought it was too. There was even like that bit where the major yells at him, being like, "Don't you understand? Blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
And Lakshman starts crying. And then later, when the major sees Lakshman to like tell him the news that like he thinks his brother is dead, Lakshman like covers his ears because he thinks the guy's going to yell at him again. And the major's like trying to calm him down. And I was like, that was actually nice. Like the character progression between these two and him understanding how to treat Lakshman was really nice.
Like when Lakshman comes and is trying to talk about like, oh, we should call someone in China to stop the war, and the other guys start laughing, and he tells them to like shut the fuck up, right? Which is, I think, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like him at the funeral genuinely crying because of Bharat's death.
He's maybe the only adult in this movie who actually explains things to Lakshman.
Yeah.
He just talks to him.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. The tone is crazy and the film is crazy.
You know, one thing I did think was funny about this movie?
What?
Because I think, all of the women in this movie, but Li Ling and was it Maya are similar to the village they live in, distractingly beautiful. But like in Thugs of Hindustan and fucking Ra 1, it's equal opportunity hotness, right? It is like everyone is balls to the walls hot, right? And in this, the equivalent to that is Salman Khan, not a sex symbol in any way in this movie.
Is, it looks like he was a sex symbol for a time because he was dating fucking like Aishwarya Rai. Like she was the most beautiful
but then
woman in
Shahrukh
India.
Khan shows up and is like, this is what a hot man looks like.
He's clearly past his peak. I reckon 20 years ago he was a sex symbol.
Maybe, yeah.
But not now.
Certainly
now
not the way he's like also like dressed in this movie. He's just like weirdly jacked and in sweater.
Yeah.
What I learned from this movie is that in the 60s, the sweater vest had a real fucking moment in Indian culture.
It really
every
did.
character is wearing a sweater
And I
vest.
actually really like them. I feel like I could see Claude wearing a couple of those bad boys.
What do you mean
fair.
you could? He has several sweater vests and he wears them. You can
like I think in the first scene, Lakshman's wearing this like really nice green sweater vest, and I was like, I want that.
I think the way they portray the way that he's different is that the color combos of his sweater vest to shirts are way wilder than anyone else in this movie.
I will say when in that last scene where he's wearing that beanie and he's got this big coat on over his little checkered shirt, and the coat has elbow patches, even though, look, he kind of looks like he could be like a guy that calls himself like a poet that lives in New York.
Yeah.
Like a guy that like lives off of the dole and like
he'd be
his
really
name's
annoying.
Jason. Yeah, that's the thing. Like he like just lives out of cafes and he's working on his new book of poetry. You know, he kind of looks like that kind of guy.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
It's because of the beanie. It took me out of it.
Yeah.
The beanie like transported me 30 years into the future.
Also, like, this movie is really surface level with it, but I found it genuinely interesting seeing a portrayal of racism from an entirely non-Western perspective.
Yeah.
Like I've worked on things that are depicting all like racism and stuff, but like it's just something I hadn't seen before, is like the Indian perspective on the Indian Chinese racism in the 60s because of war and also other things. And I'm like, man, this is just interesting to see. And it feels so like similar in a way that feels universal.
Definitely.
It's very surface level, but
it is. It's like refreshing when it's, you know, not just white people being racist all the time, because we're the kings and queens of racism.
Yeah, we've all
party.
been racist. It's just we perfected it.
Yeah, we really got it down to a fine craft. No, I remember I met this amazing screenwriter from Brisbane, and she's like, her parents are Vietnamese. I think she's first generation Australian.
Oh, cool.
And she was talking about how racist her family were, and I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, you know, they've got a lot of really like fucked up sayings. And I was like what? And she was like, something my mum always used to say is that God has an oven, and white people are underdone, black people are overdone, but Vietnamese were perfectly done.
Okay, that was still bad, but I really thought it was going to be a lot worse. But that's still pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, but I was just like, oh my God, yeah, like of course. But yeah, it is an interesting insight into like the friction between two neighboring countries.
Yeah.
And, like, we just don't think about it.
It also led to, I mean, the way that maybe it is the actual word in Hindi. The way that Lakshman always says Chinese in Hindi is Chinese. Not like Chinese, just like Chinese, which meant the first time he's like out in the woods and then a car drives by and then he sees Guo, because he doesn't really look in the front, so he doesn't see Li Ling. He sees Guo like in the back seat. And, you know, like everyone's just going off to war to fight China. So then it's slow-mo as he's looking and he slow-mo whispers, Chinese.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you can do that. Because this is before I realized that was the word at the very least. You can't just look at them and go Chinese.
Also, what did you think about the music numbers? Like the music, the song and dance bits?
Easily the weakest of the ones we've seen.
They were so shit. I actually wanted to skip over them because I was so bored by them. I was like, the music sucks, the dancing sucks. The choreography sucks.
The Brothers song towards the beginning was like the closest to a banger.
Yes.
But
everything else
sucked. A little overly long and like not enough. Like one thing Ra 1 was really good at, more so than even than Thugs of Hindustan, although Thugs of Hindustan I think has top tier fucking songs and bangers. I'll never forget Amir Khan in whiteface trying to seduce that woman.
So good.
But in Ra 1 it was really good at like segmenting them. So it would be like one song, but it would like have these different components and sequences,
but
whereas the Brothers
it
one
felt forever. Like it felt like it kept going. You're like, isn't it over?
But it didn't feel samey. Like the Brothers one felt like it went forever.
Yeah. No, it wasn't very good.
Nah.
It wasn't very good. I do think that visually the film felt like an old 60s like musical, you know, like it was like widescreen. They had so many extras. The colors were vivid. It was just a beautiful set. Visually, it's like it was really quaint and beautiful. It just everything else sucked.
Yeah.
Everything else.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing relies on its tube light metaphor of like fluorescent tube lights, I guess would take a long time to start up, which is not a thing I've experienced personally. I feel like if they flicker, they don't flicker and then light up, but maybe it was different. I don't know. And you know, that's the metaphor for how he thinks. He just takes a long time to get there, but then he gets there, which is another, and then they call him Tube Light. Do you feel like that not works? Because the answer is obviously no. Is anything?
What do you mean?
Do you I don't know. It puts a lot of hay into Tube Light being his nickname and being the extended metaphor, and it's, you know, the name of the movie. Do you think it really amounts to anything, or is like, no, I don't.
Are you asking me if the symbolism in this film is weak?
I guess.
Because you know my answer.
Ra 1 was predisposed as a name on it being like sort of a pun of Ravan.
Yeah.
And that kind of didn't work, but at least tracked. I feel like
Thugs
this...
of Hindustan, great title.
Great title.
Yeah.
This, I feel, doesn't even track.
Tubelight, not only is the tone of the film off, but before I even watched the film, I did not think it was going to be this sort of film.
Yeah.
Just the name, for some reason, I thought it might be like an action or like horror film, like Tubelight. It sounded deep and noirish, and then I was like, this is not what I expected. And I didn't think it would come from a nickname.
Yeah, it felt so odd. Like, it felt really odd when it was starting. I mean, like, they call me Tubelight. I'm like, that's what this is? That's so
same.
strange.
And also, like, was everyone like taken by that tube light because it was the first time they'd seen one? I'm gathering it would have been like the 50s or 40s when the kids were looking up at the tube light.
Yeah, like that's
is
what
that
I
the whole thing?
especially because they're quite poor.
Yeah, and like the guy that showed it to them was some guy from London, like a priest or something, or a minister from London.
Yeah, like a missionary, probably.
And then
fucking
he
colonizer.
introduced a fucking tube light to them, and then they called him Tube Light because he flickers, because he struggled. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's shit. Yeah, to answer your question, it's bad. Correct.
Okay,
we got to the end of that.
I was like, because that's what I mean. Ra 1 is a really weird, awkward pun, but it tracks.
Yeah.
This, I think, doesn't even track. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some trivia?
Yeah.
IMDb trivia.
Shah Rukh Khan made an appearance in the film due to his friendship with Salman Khan. They were seen together for the last time 10 years ago in Om Shanti Om, where Salman Khan had a cameo. So it sounds like they're just good friends and they do this for each other occasionally. Om Puri's look in the film was inspired by Colonel Sanders.
I see it.
As I mentioned, this was the last film of Om Puri, who passed away a few months before its release. And actually, I left a note here that just said, why was this shot in 2013? I couldn't find any information about why it took so long. It sounds like it took them a while to get licensing on the film until it was released in 2017, but it was shot in 2013 and 2014, edited in 2015, 2016, released in 2017. It was just a long fucking process.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And again,
maybe they were trying to make it good.
How is it adapted from Little Boy if Little Boy came out in 2015? Zuzu was already in fucking India shooting this film.
I mean, gosh, even then, how is it adapted from Little Boy? They've featured zero attributes in common.
Yeah.
There is a guy with a brother is the commonality.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yeah.
Reviews.
On Rotten Tomatoes, this film is rated 27%.
That's okay.
Yeah.
For this, that's decent.
Anupama Chopra gave 2.5 out of 5 stars and said basically Tubelight is cinema as a sermon, which makes the film flat and emotionally unconvincing. The good intentions and lectures on faith don't translate into a gripping narrative. Shubhra Gupta of the Indian Express rated it 1.5 out of 5, saying, the message is perfect, but when the main act isn't convincing, the film becomes just like the title, mostly flicker with a little late glow.
Hey.
And Rajesh Sen of NDTV rated it 1 out of 5, commenting, poor little superstar who doesn't know better. The film is rendered unwatchable because of the leading man.
Yeah.
Poor little superstar.
He is easily the worst actor in it.
So bad. Can't believe like we found the third Khan, like we've unlocked him and he's terrible.
In some games when you're like trying to unlock different characters and stuff and they have different playstyles and then you unlock like the hardest one and then
you're
they suck.
Here's a review left on IMDb by Hemant at Earth. 10 out of 10 review, and it's labeled, "Don't judge the movie by critic reviews, watch yourself." And I do want to say that a lot of the reviews were likely left by a lot of people that don't have English as their first language, which is not the reason that I selected any of these reviews. It's more that these were just the funniest. Worst movie ever. This is in quotations. Worst movie ever. Don't waste your money. Salman Khan is not able to act. IMDb and more are filled with such reviews. Guys, what do you want to watch? Item numbers? Actresses in skimpy outfits? Kissing scenes? Do you expect action in a drama movie? Tubelight is a beautiful drama war movie. It's about strongly believing in what you want. It's about manifesting. And Salman Khan did a great job. My 5-year-old son, who was not so focused when watching Jungle Book, watched Tubelight from the start to the end. He had tears in the emotional part and agreed that he enjoyed it. What else do we expect? Don't judge by online reviews. Just watch the movie. 10 out of 10. I just love kissing scenes.
Yeah, I love that guy's got the drama.
Look, I think kissing scenes was a theme because here's my next review.
Oh?
This is the movie. It's called This is the Movie with Full Emotions. Loved it. Left by Imran Prince Love. How people hate this movie. I know why. The reason behind it, it's all body. One hot and kissing scene that did not happen on the movie. This is the best movie of Salman I have ever seen. This movie is based on madness of love for his younger brother and really a very emotional movie. This movie shows you how important it is when you are not with our family. Really, this movie will make you cry. If you don't have emotions, don't go for it. 10 out of 10. And here's something I learnt. Salman Khan is also called Salu Bai. Salu Bai is a nickname for him. Salman became Salu, and then Bai was added onto the end. I don't fully understand why.
Maybe it's in Hindi. It's like a suffix that means something.
It's like Salman Boy or something like that.
Yeah.
But people call him Salu Bai. And this review was left by man-47202. It's probably the 47,000 man ever created.
Yeah.
The subject of it is GOAT in all capitals.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Goat. He wrote it all in capitals. Greatest movie of all time. Anyone disagrees, I'll chin them. Salu Bai rocks. Greatest actor of all time. De Niro sucks balls. Salu rules. 10 out of 10.
What a swipe at De Niro.
Well, that was the 47,000th man's review, Michelle. What was your review?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's hard, even though apparently Salman Khan is the GOAT. Nah, kidding. Amir Khan, GOAT for life. GOAT, he's the greatest of all time for life? Okay, whatever.
GOAT for life.
GOAT for life. Hey, you mess with the GOAT, you get the horns. I think already this movie, like, my feelings on it are fucking summed up by both the weird dancing at the end that I elaborated, but also, like, I feel like with Thugs of Hindustan and Ra 1, sometimes, very occasionally, there's bits in, like, the subtitle translation that, like, maybe are clunky, but aren't really that clunky, and they can still be, like, quite beautiful, florid language and stuff. And this, I feel like a lot less care was put in. Either that or this was a really awkward line, because there was one bit I really liked where I think Shah Rukh Khan said it. He was trying to say it to Lakshman to, like, make him believe in himself so that he could do the magic trick for Shah Rukh Khan. It was a very strange arrangement. And he said, everyone has a hidden magician trapped inside. And I hope that's not what the original line was like, because that's not a good line. Everyone has a hidden magician trapped inside. If it wasn't for the extraordinarily, frustratingly problematic nature of this movie, it might be like a 4, but it was. So it's a 1.
Yeah.
This movie made me really angry.
Fair. It was, I found this film, like, far too long, really slow, very difficult to watch. Like, the fact that it was 2 hours and 10 minutes alone is, like, a huge thumbs down from me. It didn't even have the story to fill it. There's another Sex in the City too, except it didn't make me want to scream.
Yeah, well, it's 15 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
Not that you can feel it.
Not that you can feel it, no. I can't believe this film was still shorter than... Anyway. But you know what? It was very pretty.
It was very pretty.
That's kind of all that I can positively say about it.
Yeah.
The acting was shit. Story was shit. Representation of, depiction of this fucking mentally challenged man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Awful.
I give it a 1.5 out of 10.
1.5? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything, sometimes international cinema gets this reputation of being like pretentious high art only. And, movies like this, I'm like, looks like $1 million, but it's awful. Like, that's the complete opposite of the thing you think it is.
Yeah.
Watch things like this.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Nah. Watch Thugs of Hindostan.
Yes. I want to rewatch Thugs of Hindostan.
I want to
so good.
cut 30 minutes out of and then watch Thugs of Hindostan.
And Rawan.
And Rawan. Yeah.
I wouldn't cut any of Rawan.
Not a frame leaves
Not a
Rawan.
second.
Not a single moment.
No, still one of my highest marks ever.
Yeah, and you know what? I've talked about how we regret some of the ratings. Not that one.
Nah, never.
Not that one. If anything, I wished I rated it higher.
We, at this point, probably watched it like 2 years ago. We should watch it again.
We should.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really should.
Let's do it.
We got to show it to someone.
Yeah, we do. Well, the pivot. Guys, we are on social media. Did you know? You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod, on TikTok on Rating Descending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
What's a social media?
What is this thing that completely ruins your life?
What is this? But I mean, I'm also on social media. I'll just cut it out. You can also find me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at michelle.stclair.
And I'm on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
And pretty please, oh please, leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. We really appreciate it. It really makes a difference.
We love it.
We love it.
Well, Michelle, that was Tubelight. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we are watching The Last Exorcism 2.
Sounds like a ball.
It is, I think, technically The Last Exorcism Part 2. Even with the part, it is easily the funniest fucking title on the entire list. The Last Exorcism 2
Part 2
is so funny.
The Last Exorcism, it's not over.
It's I will never write a joke that's funnier than the legitimate name of that movie. Guys, this is the last one ever. 2.
Well, join us for the second last ever exorcism.
Or maybe the more legitimate case for The Last Exorcism.
It's definitely going to be the last exorcism.
The sequel to the later to be revealed second Last Exorcism, The Last Exorcism 2.
The tentative last exorcism, not guaranteed.
They were going to make another one.
Fuck off.
But they
This is
didn't.
stupid.
They didn't.